If you call a spade, you'll get labeled all types of names. Imagine Scott Agnes criticizing South Carolina and Asia Wilson fans for going after Caitlin Clark during her rookie season. Imagine the backlash.
Imagine writing an entire essay as if you were trying out for Darth Vader's public relations squad because you are so agitated by fans who are cheering you on. According to a reporter with the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark's followers are the dark side. Yes, like real-life foam-fingered villains from Star Wars. We explore the viral breakdown that has everyone wondering whether the WNBA has suddenly become a Marvel film in today's Journalists Gone Wild edition. So take a seat back and unwind. This drama is more captivating than Caitlin's three-point shooting percent.
Today, in an article, he put something in there, and I don't know if he thought it was going to be a side note to his article, but you cannot call Caitlin Clark fans the dark side of the fandom. No, that wasn't the greatest or smartest idea in the world.
Imagine this. A popular article about Caitlin Clark, who brought women's college basketball from the shadows to prime-time television, was written by a sports journalist who has the emotional stability of a deflated basketball. Not just any article either. Oh, no. We are discussing a full-fledged, keyboard-based, viral outburst directed at Caitlin's admirers rather than her, as that would be too clear. Those who dared to stand by her, you know.
This is really disappointing from a journalist so closely linked to the Indiana Fever organization. This is really, really disappointing, and it's really concerning in my opinion, because it is painting a 23-year-old on their team who is currently injured.
This reporter, let's call him the torchbearer of trash takes, seems to have come to the conclusion that anyone who supports Caitlin Clark is, wait for it, on the dark side. That's correct, Darth Vader. It seems that clapping during three-pointers and donning a number 22 Fever shirt are now considered Sith-level offenses. John Williams performing menacing music whenever someone purchases her merchandise is all that is required.
It's writing an article about the Reese's Pieces and all their negative vitriol. Shout out to L. Duncan. That's been targeted to Caitlin Clark. Imagine the backlash he would receive. But what's the safe way out? What's the safest way to big up the Indiana Fever? Well, you tear down Caitlin Clark's fan.
In the meantime, the Indiana Fever management is still out there doing very nothing. They've been fumbling around as if they're trapped in a Scooby-Doo episode, attempting to figure out why Caitlin Clark supporters are upset when it's so clear. In a league where the refereeing makes the WWE seem like Harvard Debate Club, you have the most exciting rookie in WNBA history.
Very disappointing. It's disgusting that Caitlin Clark has to be subjected to this nonsense. And enough's enough. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. She needs to come out and draw the line in the sand. And it would not shock me if at some point, man, Caitlin Clark is just done with this.
This, or should we begin with the league? Caitlin Clark, who dropped 40-point triple-doubles like she was dishing out Skittles at Iowa, was taken by the WNBA and all its beautiful wisdom and put into a system where refs appear to have taken the training course on how to be petty in 3 easy calls. Every game has the air of a Shakespearean tragedy, helmed by a person who only follows disputes on Twitter.
Yesterday, they also announced the skills competition for the WNBA All-Star team. And she didn't make that either. So you argued she wasn't good for the Olympics. Your argument, though I don't buy it, but it was your argument, women's basketball, that she would be a distraction. So isn't the perfect place to put her in the skills competition?
Caitlin was treated like a superstar by the NCAA. She is treated by the WNBA as though she were a freshman at Mean Girls High. If the NCAA were a helpful mentor, encouraging her from the sidelines. Regina George of the WNBA asks her why she is so fixated on her talent. If no one else is available, we switched from covering the game of the week to the game of the weekend. Because it's a horrible business idea to openly display your most marketable athlete. However, let's turn to this reporter. A man who is so intolerant of accountability that he most likely has to have an EpiPen on hand if the word objectivity is brought up. You see, he no longer only reports. No. He's teaching us. He asserts that you are obviously toxic if you back Caitlin Clark. Not because you're noisy, impolite, or bothering others, but just because you're here. You have to wonder whether he earned his degree from a cereal box while reading this type of journalism. This is the same individual who, during a power outage, turned around more forcefully than a yoga instructor after being reprimanded for disregarding Clark's blatant foul play. Naturally, though, when you're writing from a place of resentment, accuracy is optional.
Winners of 7 of 9. The Fever are playing Connect.
He claims that this man has experienced a great deal of hatred. Really? Since our last check, Caitlin Clark has been elbowed in the face, verbally abused on and off the court, fouled with the grace of a falling anvil, and has yet to reply to press conferences with anything more than a courteous "thank you." Every time someone in the comment area challenges this reporter to take reality into account, he launches into a digital panic attack. The fact that this man has never, and we mean never, called out any of the obvious cheap jabs directed at Clark is absurd. Not one. Not when someone shoved her. Not when she felt as though someone was attempting to take her soul. Not during layups when she had her body examined. Zilch nada. Suddenly, though, he finds the stamina to compose a 1,200-word article explaining how her followers are the issue. Shall we discuss that base of supporters? Orbits level whirling because of the way this man speaks about Clark's fans. It's surprising that Anti-ANS hasn't lodged a trademark complaint given the linguistic pretzels he's twisting himself into. This man reroutes the topic like a father avoiding affection whenever someone attempts to discuss real basketball. Let's not discuss how she was flattened without causing any harm. Let's discuss how you're a poor fan for observing. The fact that this has turned into a mini-industry of jealousy is even more pitiful. For many years, the WNBA has been pleading for widespread recognition. At last, they have someone who drives traffic, sponsorships, ticket sales, and jersey purchases that cause websites to crash. And in some ways, her excessive prosperity is the worst crime she has ever made. This whole situation is beginning to resemble that one coworker who never performs their duties and then loses their cool when someone else gets promoted. However, in this instance, there is a very irate man with a WordPress login, elbows, and ejections in place of office drama. In addition, let's examine the statement. She's not the only rookie. Whoa. I appreciate that discovery. Indeed, the league does contain other rookies. We know that a few of them are outstanding. Purchasing a Caitlin Clark jersey puts you at risk of being called a cult leader after only one tearful post. Not to be overlooked is the ultimate irony. It is only because of Caitlin Clark that these journalists and commentators who dedicate their days to disparaging her followers are still relevant today. Half of them would be tweeting about pickleball competitions and Waffle House reviews if she weren't in the league.
Nasty. If y'all don't know who Scott Agnes is, he's a guy that's he's very close to the team. He gets a lot of access. He's in the practices. He's interviewing the players at practice. He's interviewing the players pre-game, post-game. He is very close with the team and has a lot of access to the players and the team.
This man's refusal to support her essentially gave him a platform. He is the president of the fan club that opposes supporters. He is gaslighting anyone who brings out the obvious, while shrieking into thin air about how overrated she is. That she is revolutionary rather than merely good. Let's face it, Caitlin Clark would be the talk of the MVP if she played in a league where professionalism was expected and favoritism wasn't the main marketing tactic. Instead, as the referees sip herbal tea and gaze at the scoreboard, she's out here braving defensive ambushes like she's auditioning for Gladiator. The worst aspect is that she somehow twists humility, class, and restraint, qualities that are meant to be positive, every time she exhibits them. Why doesn't she defend herself? Why does she never talk? Because perhaps, just possibly, she's aware that the microscope is already aimed straight at her face, which is glowing red. She doesn't have to give in to the trolls, particularly those who obviously haven't watched an entire game objectively since flip phones were popular. For your information, a lady adds millions of dollars to a league that 5 years ago was unable to sell out of a concession stand. Finally, women's basketball attracted national attention from fans. Additionally, some media outlets responded by clapping excessively loudly. Don't like her, please. If this weren't so completely pitiful, it would be humorous.
The ignorance is loud here, folks. They're only there for Clark. Boy, you stepped in it. But that dark side can easily seep into the team. The Caitlin Clark fans, the dark side. Because they're very passionate about a player, and yes, they've put their money where their mouth is.
Not only did Caitlin Clark make the WNBA relevant, but she also made it inevitable. She is treated as a presidential candidate by ESPN. When she makes threes, the opposing arenas applaud. When the fever strikes a city, tourism increases. Let's discuss how the fans are the issue, though. Not the no calls, not the elbow throwing, and not the league's unwillingness to defend their most important resource. The officiating was so blatantly biased that it would make a football referee cringe. No, it's those damn fans who pack stadiums and purchase t-shirts. What do you know? This force is making money, expanding the sport, and encouraging young ladies to have bigger dreams. So if that's the evil side, pass the lightsaber. Our beloved writer can keep scribbling away in the comfort of his own insignificance in the meantime, seeing the eventual ascent of the sport he professes to love, just not in the manner he had hoped. Like Moses separating the Red Sea, Caitlin divides defenders in 1 minute. At the last minute, she has arranged a trip that even her grandmother would consider lavish. In the meantime, opponents subtly toss their elbows like a drunk rhinoceros and crickets. Not a soul. The referees are being treated as though they are auditioning for the funniest home whistle blows in America.
Indiana Fever reporter Scott Agnes has decided that now would be the time, now that the Fever have won a few games, now would be the time to attack Caitlin Clark fans. While, of course, and I'm not even going to go through because some of them are real.
Not to be overlooked are Caitlin-specific imaginative foul calls. Go to the edge. It's a blatant. Attempt a three. It's a technicality. On defense, blink. It's a review. Their ability to be continuously unreliable is nearly astounding. At this stage, your child would make a more thoughtful decision about who gets to sit in the booster seat. Oh, and the league rules are a luxury. Racism and partiality. You describe it as more analogous to a choose-your-own-adventure novel in which Caitlin is portrayed as the villain along every route. Have you been fouled? Under a microscope, replay her response until it resembles a crime scene. After a clutch shot, she smiles. Play menacing soundtrack, slow motion, and zoom in.